Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Bekah Jo, aka the Makeup Tax Lady, and we are getting into our hair once again today. We are just doing a little get ready with me. This one's probably a little less chit-chatty than the last time, but I just felt like getting ready. I cut my bangs, I cut my hair a little bit yesterday, so we will style it together in today's video. Let me know your thoughts. I have been seeing so many videos of like the butterfly cut, like the shag haircut, and so this is my attempt at a non-committal version or a less committal version, I guess, of a little more layered haircut. So anyway, so we're using a few new products in today's video. You'll be seeing those shortly, including some Natasha Denona, my first time trying the brand, including some Ensley Reign Twisted Tea Party. This isn't new to me. Well, it was new a few months ago, but I haven't featured it on my channel yet. That's where today's eye look came from. Stick around to see how we got there. And we've, of course, got some Sydney Grace on the face. I've got a little Danessa Myricks. We are filming over here at my makeup stand today because I wanted to be able to decide what makeup I wanted to wear as I was going and not feel like I had to decide ahead of time and then, or get up and go grab it. So I kind of liked filming here. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like it when I film over here? The end of my last video, the Lands of Enchantment swatch video, I ended the video over here. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts about this look, about this location, about the whole hair thing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be happy to chat with you down there, and let's get started. Let's start by clipping back some of this hair. And then we are going to jump into, I don't know what makeup look. Just a little bit of gloss for the lips. This is my JD Glow lip gloss. Talked about this in a video recently. RIP JD Glow. Okay, I'm gonna start out with my brand new to me Natasha Denona under eye corrector. Oh, correcting concealer is what she calls it. This is the shade C1. I tried this on for the first time last night and it is pigmented. So I'm going to use less product than I used last night, right in the corners, inner corners, and then right here on the outer corners. This is my first, these two, because I also got the concealer. This is my first ever purchase or trying Natasha Denona. I bought it from the brand website while they were having a sale, and these feel so luxurious. I did not realize this is like a heavy acrylic, and then this is like a smooth, like a velvety feel, but just a smooth texture. They're a little bit weighty. They feel very luxurious. So now I'm intrigued to try more from the brand. Quite pigmented, provides a lot of coverage. Just taking what's left over onto my eyelid. It's not like the strongest corrector that I've ever used, but it is pigmented and it does the job. I will say these two shades, so this is C1 and this is N2, which was the second neutral shade. They look kind of sort of similar. Like obviously they're different, but I probably, if I wanted to, could get away with just using C1 as a corrector and not putting any concealer over it, because it's, I mean, it's a corrector shade, but it's not like so far from my skin tone, like so pink, so peachy that it stands out. I definitely have some under eye correctors that are very much an obvious, like they're meant for a corrector, versus this can almost be, could almost be used as a 2-in-1. Okay, next I'm gonna take N2 and put this on the spots I want to conceal, down my nose and around my nose. And I'm gonna use this as my base today. I've heard people say that it works really well as a base product. And so we are going to treat it as such. When I put this on my face last night it was, again, way more pigmented than I was expecting. So I'm starting with less and I'll go in with more if I feel that I need to spread it out more. But I'm hoping that it'll give higher coverage on the places that I put it and then spread out well to be less coverage on the areas where I didn't put it, so that it's just a little bit of a tint, but not like I'm not going for a full glam coverage. This concealer does seem to blend out very nicely. It provides really nice coverage. It seems to spread well with the sponge. And this is like a slightly damp sponge. It's not like a really damp sponge. I'm sure it would do well with a more damp sponge as well. That is looking nice. I'm gonna add just a little bit more to this acne spot right there. I'm gonna let that sit for a couple minutes. Hopefully you can see it does look really skin-like. It's got just a little bit of a sheen on the skin, but it's not like glowy. It's kind of a soft matte, I would say. And since I used very little product and just spread it out, it doesn't feel heavy. Like I can tell there's something on my skin, but it doesn't feel heavy. There's probably a little bit of transfer. I'll give it a little more time to set down and then I'll use a little powder over all of it. In the meantime, I'm gonna go in with my half-caked brow gel just to fluff these puppies up. Just using a spoolie to run that through and kind of give some more shape. Also gonna go ahead with my eyeshadow primer. This is About Face eyeshadow primer. I try to just have one eyeshadow primer in my collection at a time, so this one is it, but I do like it. Nothing bad to say about it. Okay, I'm taking this little brush and using patting motions to cover up. Oh my goodness, that covered up very nicely. Wunderbar. I semi-recently, a couple weeks ago, from Mercari, picked up this Danessa Myricks Balm Contour. What does she call this? Okay, the product name is not listed on here, but this is her contour balm. This is the lightest shade in Shade Fair 1, and I really like this. I wasn't sure if it would be too orangey on my skin, which is why I wanted to pick it up off Mercari. It was unused when I picked it up, but I do really like it on my face. So I'm going to grab, so this is just a BH Cosmetics brush that I have, a small domed brush. And so I like to just kind of very gently get that product all over the brush and then start it where I want the most pigmentation and kind of blend it out from there, building up the shape and intensity that I want. And I think that looks very nice as a soft contour slash bronze. It's not too cool toned, but we know that I don't like super warm bronzers either. So this has been very fun to play with. Has a nice texture. I like using the smaller brush because I have a little more control over where it goes and it helps me from getting carried away. So yeah, it's not like the most warm or most summery kind of shade, but that is just fine with me. I'm gonna take this little brush and do a little bit of nose contour. I like to bring it just under the edge of my nose and then up on either side with whatever is left over. I don't like a real deep or real obvious nose contour, but just a little something to make it all cohesive color-wise. Okay, I want to use my RCMA, the original no color powder today, all over my face to set. So I'm going to dump some in the cap and then tap it back off before I untwist. It has a real deep like screw on it, so you twist for a little bit before it makes any progress, but that is okay with me. I'm gonna go back in real quick. Take care of those wrinkles that had formed from the concealer. Just taking a little powder and knocking it off the brush, pressing under my eye, doing the same thing for the other side. Lovely. Now I want to be a little bit more generous with the powder, swirling all around in the cap, and then very gently brushing all over my face. I've used up all of the product that was in the cap, so now there's some product sitting on the top of here. I'm gonna pick that up with my brush, get it all around the brush by doing that swirling motion in the cap, and then once again very gently all over my face. And once more for the forehead. I have been enjoying this powder. I'm glad I picked it up. It's very lightweight on the skin and it's very, very finely milled. So it's nice and soft and it's not like overly matte. It looks very nice. Just taking my spoolie and brushing all those hairs back up. Okay, we will come back to do blush and then highlighter if anything. But now I want to go into my eyes and I want to use the beautiful Twisted Tea Party palette by Ensley Reign Cosmetics. I was looking at pictures of the new collection, the Cosmic Dreamer 2.0 revamped palette, and of course I haven't seen that one in person, but just based on pictures that I've seen, it looks like Twisted Tea Party expanded into a larger palette, and I think that's a really cool idea because that palette offers some of the bright shades and then offers some of the more grungy shades. And I feel like the two palettes would be beautiful complements to each other. Now I have to decide which of these beautiful shades I want to wear today. My go-to shades for this palette have been Delirious Dormouse because it's so super reflective. Also the shade Drink Me. It looked like everything I had seen about online. It kind of looked like an unimpressive, unexciting shade, but it's such a pretty shade. Don't worry, I will be doing face swatches with this palette coming. Just haven't gotten there yet. I think I want to play with Elixir today. This shade is also just like so much more interesting than it looks like in the pan. So I want to play with Elixir. And I don't know that I want to go too crazy into using lots of other shades. So I'll probably grab Looking Glass. That will be my primary matte. We'll use Elixir. We may dip into Bonkers a little bit as well. And actually I think I'm going to start with Delirious Dormouse here. Did I call this one Delirious Dormouse? Because I meant Distorted Dream. They're both two words, both start with a D. So Distorted Dream is this one. Delirious Dormouse is this gray purpley shade. Plus look at the little kitty cat on the packaging. Isn't he cute? We're all mad here. It's true. Okay, I'm starting with Delirious Dormouse on my What's Up Beauty R103. I'm going to start that in the outer portion of my eye. Being very generous, pulling it onto the lid. And now into the crease. Fluffing it up with whatever is still on the brush. That's just such a pretty shade. I'm sure it's comparable to a shade in the Lands of Enchantment palette, but that's okay with me. I feel like this shade fits into this palette really well because it kind of bridges the gap between the grungier shades and the brighter shades. I also took that shade on the very tip of this brush and just kind of very gently, very generously ran that under my lower lash line. Next, I'm going to grab the shade Looking Glass and I'm going to use the same brush I just wiped it off on this little scratchy pad here. And I want this to be not a super strong pigmented blue, but just a little bit of a wash, which is why I'm taking a fluffier brush. But this brush can still be precise because of its tip. So I'm grabbing just some, tapped it off twice, and we will just add this in the outer corner. Oh, that's beautiful. Just what I was going for. Same thing for the other eye. Although I think I picked up a little bit more on the brush this time. So I'm just going to clean off my brush and then work to blend that how I want. Again, focusing on pulling that shade inward and not outward. And I like the deeper shade that I use to come just into the crease, but not to be so blown out, either up or out. So that's just kind of the shape that I'm creating there. Again, I want everything to be super soft. And I'm gonna take that same shade Looking Glass on this little Sierra Martin brush. It's a very small pencil brush, and I'm gonna run that just, the shade is just on the tip of the brush. I'm gonna use that right out here under my eye. So we get a splash of the blue, but without being a strong line of blue. This brush is great for that under eye application. We are going to see how this goes without an eyeshadow or like a glitter glue kind of primer. I'm going to pick up the shade Elixir on my Refer 28 brush, just a small flat brush. And this is a pretty smooth shade if I didn't see that already. I am gonna go ahead and wet the brush. This is a little homemade setting spray that's just got a couple ingredients in it, water being the primary ingredient. Let me know if you'd be curious to hear more about that. Oh my goodness, this is so pretty. So pretty. So I'm using mostly very gentle tapping motions to get that shade where I want it, and we'll go back over the edge to soften that up a little bit, blending that into that outer corner. Okay, now for the other eye. This shade is so cool because it's almost like an iridescent, even though it doesn't look like it in the pan. I think that's part of why it doesn't look like what I expected it to. It also looks like a super true blue, if you will, in the pan, but it's almost got like this green tinge to it on the eyes, that like shine and shimmer. It's so pretty. Okay, I am gonna take just a little bit of Bonkers. The shade is so pretty too. This one also reminds me of the shade in Lands of Enchantment. I think it's Moon Magic. I'm sure they're not exactly the same shade, but it does remind me of that one. So I'm gonna take this just on the edge over here between the matte and the shade Elixir, just to blend those two in together, and then we'll go back and deepen up this outer matte just a little bit more. The way that those two shimmer shades blend in together is so very nice. So this is another pencil brush by the brand Sierra Martin. It's a little bit bigger than that last pencil brush I just showed, but I'm going to use this to go back and forth very gently between Looking Glass and Rabbit, which is a true black matte. I want to make sure it's mostly the blue shade Looking Glass, and very gently I'm going to put this on the side, just like that. I'll come back and soften it up in a second, but I'm not even going to dip back into the palette because I don't want this becoming too deep and too much. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. So I'm actually taking this same pencil brush, just cleaning it off, and then I want to use this to do my blending. So just very gently going around the sides of that matte and pulling it ever so slightly in an outward direction, just to again soften where we just laid down that matte. You totally could leave that shade more structured if you were going for a more artsy look, but that is not the look that I'm going for today. Also just kind of bringing those mattes, again, just the outer edge where it's already being softened, just pulling that back into my eye to make sure that it's blending inward. Okay, I have this Refer 13, which is a small blending brush, and I'm going to use this very gently around the outside. There's nothing on it. I just want to soften the edges of the shimmer shade. Okay, I'm gonna go do my mascara. I'll be right back. Okay, mascara is on. For blush, I want to use my Sydney Grace cream blush in the shade My Love. This is a beautiful, soft, neutral, pinky, peachy shade. It's probably one of the most neutral shades that I have in my blush collection, because I'm not historically a neutral blush kind of girl, but I have gotten into them. I've kind of gotten away from it in the last few months, but a few months ago, probably 6 months ago, it was like I couldn't get enough of neutral blush shades, and this one is so pretty. If you didn't know already, I absolutely love the cream formula from Sydney Grace. Of course, it started with their cream eyeshadows. Now I have several cream blushes, a couple cream bronzers, and a few cream highlighters, and they're all spectacular. I mean, absolutely beautiful. They feel luxurious. They look so healthy on the skin. They provide just a little bit of a natural glow. They don't irritate my skin. There's no perfumes in there. They make a good variety of shades. I highly, highly recommend these blushes. If they had the bronzers available for individual sale, I would recommend those too. Hopefully they come out with those soon. I got mine through some of their mystery bags, I believe, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I got to pick those up. So there is our blush on. I think I want to use just a little bit of a Sydney Grace cream highlighter as well. I want to go in with the shade Paradise on Ice. I know this shade came from their Christmas like stocking stuffer, I think is what they called it. So basically a Christmas themed mystery bag. Such a pretty highlighter. Not that I really needed one because that cream blush provides a little bit of a glow. Oh, and they work well over powder because we already powdered. You saw they blended so well. For lips, I want to go in with this Wet n Wild lip liner in the shade Bear to Comment, and I'm just gonna put that on my lips, kind of around where the lip gloss already is. I haven't taken any of the lip gloss off, so it's gonna be more of a subtle lip liner, lip color, since I'm putting it on over the lip gloss. But I'm not really going for a statement lip, so that's okay. I did blend, apparently I have some leftover sparkles on my eyeshadow. Oh, that's probably because I picked up my makeup cloth here. I did get some of that here on my lip, and it's probably not gonna come off. So we're just gonna have a sparkly lip, and it is what it is. Okay, one more brush of the brows. This is another cream product that I have from Sydney Grace. This is their eyebrow pomade. This stuff is very, very, very nice. I keep wanting to use it as a matte eyeshadow, but I haven't done that yet. But I want to go in with just a little bit of my Mad For You brow palette from Sydney Grace. They have in a few different shades. This is the blonde shade, and I tend to tip into these two shades because they look the most natural on my brows, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna go back and forth between those two shades. These are just their eyeshadows in the hair skin tone shades, if you will. So the formula is Divine. I have used this palette to travel with, and I think it's so smart for that because these shades will have multi-purpose. You can use them as eyeshadow or as brows, of course. And you've got all your neutral shades right here. And then I had packed a little, this was a while ago when I did this, but I had packed a little palette with a few eyeshadow singles in it to complement these shades so that I could go a little more dramatic or definitely more subtle if I wanted to wear eyeshadow that day. Okay, the face is done. Gonna take these little clippies down and we can do a little something with the hair. Oh yeah, she's got bangs. And don't blame anybody else if they look bad. It was 100% me. And I will definitely be like tinkering with them, probably as long as I have them, to see if I want to trim them up or shape them differently in any way, but I think they're so fun. Okay, so I kind of styled them last night and I'm happy with all of that. So I'm just going to focus on styling other parts of my hair today. And I'm using this same round brush that I used in my last Get Ready With Me. So I'm pulling the hair taut against my head here to make sure that it's actually, these outside layers are getting that heat. If I keep it looser, it's not gonna get so much of that heat. So I haven't styled my hair at all on this wash yet. So that was kind of my natural texture of hair that I really didn't do anything to when I washed it. I put a little, I think, leave-in conditioner in it and that's about it. If I put in the time and energy, I can get some kind of waves in my hair. I prefer to do that when I'm washing my hair earlier in the day and it has time to air dry. I find that if I'm blow drying those waves, they're less likely to stick around. I'd rather preserve that wave by giving it its best chance. I have been craving that like shaggy haircut with all the face framing and all of the layers, and I think it looks so cute, but I'm not ready to commit to the time it would take for my hair to be styled like that. I'm getting into styling my hair more lately, but I also don't want to assume that this level of commitment will stick around. I know myself, but I do like to change up my hair every once in a while, and I haven't had bangs in a hot minute. Figured we'd do just a little bit of bangs, nothing too crazy. Honestly, it went shorter. My bangs went shorter than I had planned for them to, but again, I did my hair, so I can only blame me for that. That's okay, I think it looks cute. I don't think it's like too short. The thing is, I have an incredibly strong calic right here. It doesn't look so strong while my hair is parted like this. I also put some work in to style it yesterday right after I cut it so that I could overcome that calic a little bit, but I'll show you here in a second what it looks like if I just kind of brush them forward. And I know, I'm confident somebody could fix that aspect of my hair. Somebody could get over the calic for me, probably with a blow dryer. I have tried it myself and it takes a lot of work and it doesn't last. And so again, like taking the time to do that every single time I'm getting ready, it's just a commitment I'm typically not willing to make. So as much as I think straight across bangs look really cute, that's just not what, you know, works for me. Like, so cute, right? But they will just split, like they just do. So anyway, I think that the way that I cut them works really well because I can push them back like this and they're just kind of like layered into the rest of my hair, or they'll naturally kind of break apart and fall forward a little bit. without being too much in my eyes. Of course, the way that things work and style and look right after a cut is not always indicative of what they'll look like a week or two from now. So I'm aware of that. This is what they're doing for me right now, and I like it. It looks cute. We'll see how it's doing in a couple weeks, at which point I may be ready to grow them back out. Which is unfortunately a time-consuming process. I used to like use bobby pins or clips or whatever, and like could do like these cute little styles in clipping back the bangs of my hair. Of course, you see the girls doing it on the YouTube shorts and the Instagram and probably on TikTok. I don't have TikTok. And it looks really cute when they do it. I have kind of gotten away from it. But if I'm growing out bangs, that's probably an action I would take. That helps like keep them out of your face, being cute. Also, if they're like at an awkward length that maybe you don't like, it's an opportunity to fix that a little bit, if you will. Give them a more interesting shape. I'm really just running this through all that fringe, oh, so cute. One of the things that I like about the like shaggy cut, the fringe, all of that stuff is the effortlessness that you can achieve. In appearance, of course, is not always the same in action, but I think it's super cute. Like I cut these bangs yesterday evening, and I cut a little bit of layers back into my hair too. It's really little layers, so it's not very obvious. I very possibly will give myself more layers in the coming weeks, but like I kind of cut them last night, and then I like kind of cut the bangs and the layers yesterday, and then just woke up this morning and just like brushed my hands through my hair, and it looked great. Again, it's day one. It may not still style so easily in future days, but for now, I'll take it. Just going with a little bit of Verb Ghost hairspray over everything. Get these soft little waves we've got going on for a little messy style. We got a little volume going on. Oh, I'm very happy with it. Okay, so here is the final hair, the makeup. Hopefully you can see some of that sparkle, some of that beautiful shift that we got from the Ensley Reign Twisted Tea Party palette. Again, I plan to do a video focused entirely on this palette, doing face swatches like I've been doing with my other Ensley Reign products. So if you'd like to see that, please let me know in the comments. If you have any other thoughts or comments on the makeup that I used today, or the technique, or the hair, or any of that, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and I hope to see you next time.